Howdy, and welcome back to Wednesday. My name is Paul. I get to serve as a pastor at Terra Nova Church here in North Adams, Mass. And every Wednesday for the past couple months, we've been putting out these short videos just by way of keeping connected with each other and hoping to encourage you and spur you on in your faith journey with Jesus. Normally, each week, I pick a verse that during that week's reading has struck me and stood out to me as I read through the Bible. But this week, we're going to go a slightly different direction. It's been a verse that my mind and my heart has been going back to often in the midst of what's going on in the world around us, specifically with the racial tensions and injustices that we see playing out around us. And in the midst of all that, I keep coming back to a verse you might be familiar with. It's Micah 6:8. And it says this is Micah 6:8. He has told you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? But to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. So I want to just take a few minutes, and my heart has just been going back to those three phrases: to do justice, to love mercy, to walk humbly, and spend a few minutes talking about those. So let's look at that. First one, do justice. There's been a lot of injustices that we've seen before us, and there's been a loud cry for justice in the midst of it, rightfully so. But there's one thing that's been standing out to me, that this verse doesn't prescribe to us how to do justice. It just says to do justice. So if I may, with all due respect, I think there's a particular sentiment that I think I'm not sure I can necessarily line up with. And that is, for those who may be silent right now, that they are perpetuators of injustices. Now, hear me out for a second. I understand that idea. But when I see a verse like this and it just says to do justice, I think we need to be able to allow ourselves a bit of nuance as to what doing justice looks like for different people. Certainly, for some, and for many of us perhaps, doing justice means standing up and speaking out, going to a rally, peaceably. I'm not sure, like standing up and speaking out is certainly something for some of us as we do justice, but for others of us, to do justice might mean we need to sit down and be quiet and listen, and perhaps doing that in person, especially with somebody who may not think like or look like us. For some of us, doing justice means standing up and speaking out. For others, it may look like sitting down and being quiet. Not everybody who may be silent at this moment, they may not be a perpetuator of injustice. And not everybody who is speaking has all the answers and can be right about what justice looks like. I think we need to allow nuance for ourselves to understand. We all need to have and pursue justice, but that could look differently based on how God is moving in our hearts and what he may be calling us to do or not do. Justice can be accomplished both in our speaking and in our silence. The second phrase, love mercy. The idea I keep coming back to here is the call of us in Christ to follow him and to love mercy. It means that we must love mercy for everyone, not just those who we think deserve mercy. And so this short phrase, do justice, to love mercy, reminds me, calls me to, do I love that idea, mercy for everybody? Am I content? Am I okay? Would I celebrate if the person that I think is not deserving of mercy, God chooses to give mercy to? To follow him, we have to love mercy for every single person who's involved in all of our circumstances. Walk humbly. The last thing. This has been pushing me. This phrase has been probably the one I've been thinking about the most, because walking humbly for me right now with others and with God has driven me back to prayer. in a consistent way of just praying for this, because what that means, walking humbly is praying. To pray is an act of humility, because what it is saying for me is it is a cry to God that God, I don't understand all this, I don't know this, I can't fix this. There's a humility in that, in our humanity, that we don't have all the answers, but God does, and God can do something about this. And so to walk humbly with him is for me to be on my knees praying. And that's a solid reminder for me of an idea of what it means to be still in the midst of the chaos and the noise and the ever evolving circumstances, to step back in prayer, be still, and to know that he is God, and walk humbly with him. That's it. That's all I have for you. It's just those three phrases, that three-legged stool of what it means to follow God, especially in this season. Do justice. And that can look differently and be nuanced depending on who we are and what God is asking us to do. To love mercy for everybody, and to walk humbly. And for me, that is driving me to the humility of what prayer is, putting me back before a good, sovereign God. Love you all. I hope this finds you well. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to reach out. paul@terranovachurch.org. And I'll see you soon, hopefully. If not, I'll see you again next Wednesday on a Devo video. Have a good day.